Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for joining today for the Hack Your Masa Internship talk with Career Israel and other friends from other Israel Experience programs. So I think we have folks here from Stagerim, from Leja, from Career Israel, and from the underground secret program I'm not supposed to know about, right? Right, okay. So my name is Assaf Luxembourg. I want to start right away, but a few announcements first. Number one, there's a reason you're all auto-muted. It's in order for us to really respect your time. So there will be time for Q&A towards the end. So if you want, just throw your questions in the chat. I can promise you I am not looking at it. But operator here, which is somewhere here on your screen, and her name is Bar Peretz, she will be looking at the questions, or Adam, and towards the end, they will bring people up with questions that are relevant, so feel free to drop them in the chat. Questions, remarks, objections, whatever it is. So that's number one. Number two, this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded into YouTube so that hundreds of millions of people could watch this. So if you open your camera, just make sure that you're live and the world is watching. That's number two. Number three, for the people here that are part of Career Israel, the amazing 13 of you. So you have received an email from me about what we're going to do in the next month. This talk today is the kickoff for that month. Please make sure you pay attention for this email. It has information not only about this talk today and about our next speaking engagement in 2-3 weeks, but also about the group sessions. Please go and hit the Calendly link and reserve your spot for the meetings we're going to have next week and for the ones we're going to have early January. Otherwise, others are going to take the time that is convenient for you, and you're going to be left with less options. So that's another reminder. For the rest of you who are joining today from other programs, we are happy to have you here as well. This call is built in a way that is supposed to add value to you, even if you're not part of this session that I have with the other amazing 13 who are here. So with no further ado, and I don't see the chat explodes, so I guess everybody's okay, and we are going to start. I'm going to share my screen, and here we go. So this meeting is called Hack Your Masa Internship. It is built on this speaking engagement called Hacking the New World of Work. I'm going to speak a little bit fast. I'm going to jump in between ideas and claims and things that I'm going to talk about. However, I'm going to repeat more than once that many of the things that I talk about, the reason I don't drill down to prove what I'm saying is not only because we don't have a lot of time, but also because there are a lot of examples online in my website, on my YouTube channel, on LinkedIn, on other places. So you can feel free to go and look them up. And I'm going to repeat this more than once. Last but not least, the reason I'm looking sideways is not because I have the ADD, DHD. I know you are here, but my screen is here, so I have two screens. So that's for that. All right, let's kick off this thing. I do want to devote maybe 1 minute. I mean, this is an educational program of Masa. Who wants to tell me who is this person right here? Who has an idea? This is the time where I allow you to unmute yourself and tell me, who is this person wandering in the desert, lonely, looking for you know what? Ideas. I see Dan Dunias was trying to catch a fly or something. Very nice. Come on, guys, who is this? This is a talk about entrepreneurship and how to think like an entrepreneur. This is an Israel-related program. Think of the history of this place. Who is this person? Who is this entrepreneur?
In the Negev.
I mean, the Negev was part of the journey for sure. Come on, an epic figure. We all know from our history. Anyone?
Moshe.
משה רבינו.
Elinor Marciano. That is Moshe, or Moses, or Moshe Rabbeinu.
כן, משה רבינו.
And I'm not going to talk about it here too long, but I think if you want some inspirational examples for how to think like an entrepreneur for life, not just startups and be an entrepreneur, but how to think like an entrepreneur, the Bible has so many examples. So I'm not going to talk about this right now. If you want the full Dvar Torah, the full spiel, you can go online, look it up. So I'm just going to skip these slides and I'm just going to jump to the end. And I just saved us 5 minutes here because the point that I want to start with is the following one. Being an entrepreneur is hard, which means taking ownership on what's happening to you is hard. Why do it? Why think like an entrepreneur if it's hard? And my answer is, and that relates to some of the things that we're going to talk about in a very, very pragmatic way. So I'm beginning with the fluffy fluff kumbaya stuff, because we're going to go down to practice. But the whole thesis is this: if you find something that is worth winning for, meaning you could do other things, but you want to do this instead, if you find something that is worth winning for, you probably find something that is worth losing for. Meaning, even if you lost, even if it didn't work, even if it failed, you're still proud of what you did. And my whole claim is when you find something that is worth winning for, and you find something that is worth losing for, you actually find something that is worth living for. And career, which is something that I'm going to claim that is separate from job, career is not where I work. Career is what I did in my life. Business is not how I make money. Business is what I chose to be busy with. So that's a little bit of that, just to get you to think a little bit. But this is not going to be a very high-level inspirational talk, but a very pragmatic one that is connected to Masa in your current status. So here's what I want to do. I want to present myself in like 5 minutes, less. I want to talk a little bit about what is happening out there in the new world of work that many of you already know about. It probably relates to the reason you chose to come and do this program. And I didn't even say a word about COVID, but just to zoom out a little bit and get a little bit more perspective. So we're going to do that very quickly. But then I want to jump to the punchline. And that's why this chapter is called the punchline. And I'm going to make a claim that is going to serve us for this lecture and for those of you who are in the program for the next month of what I believe is the right way to approach the new world of work, that background. So that's for that. Then what I want to do is give practical and pragmatic examples. So if what I claim in the punchline is correct and you accept it, what does it mean? We will not have time to go through 10 general situations. So I chose 2. One is looking for a job, and number 2 is finding my way inside the organization once I work. So these are 2 basic examples. There are many more. We will not have time to cover them today fully, but guess what? If you go online, you can find the full lecture, this presentation. So there's a lot more online. And if you can't find it, reach out to me personally and I'll send you the link. And then last but not least, hacking your Masa experience. What does it mean? Everything that I talked about for Masa participants, especially long-term career programs, especially during December 2020, which is you. That's the plan. Are there any objections? No objections. Great. Let's go. So who am I? My name is Assaf Luxembourg. And I'm born and raised here in Israel. My scratch in life, my disease, my passion, my mission, my whatever you want to call this, my thing in life is to connect people to Israel and to promote Israel. I mainly do it through business. Why? Because I was there when Israel became super famous with regards to innovation and startups and all of that stuff 12, 13, 15 years ago. It's part of the reason you are here, which is why those programs became much more attractive. Not that they weren't attractive before, but Israel gained brand recognition around the world as a startup nation. I was there when it happened. My dream was to be a diplomat. When I was 22, I got out of the army. It was clear to me that what I want to do is go be a diplomat, an ambassador, and then maybe when I'm 40 something, leave the public sector and go be in places like Masa or Birthright and devote my life, my business, my career, what I choose to be busy with, to the three things that appear now on the slide. So I went and studied the right professions in college. I got the right degree in the right university. I went to work in the right places, and I invested all of my 20s playing checkmate, so that by the time I am 30, I'm going to get so much experience, mainly volunteering, internship. I didn't call it internship, but that's what it was. For example, I needed experience speaking to groups if I want to be a good ambassador. So I threw myself into that situation, started doing more and more and more, started advising companies like Israel Experience when it comes to program, started helping a lot of business groups that came to Israel. Why? Because I want to apply for the Flight Academy with more flight hours than the Flight Academy instructors. So I'm going to nail this one and be an ambassador. As you can see, I am not an ambassador. So my plan failed. And when I was 30, I had a big career crisis. The last thing I thought will happen is that all of these things that I did towards my 20s will become my business. I did not want to be an entrepreneur. But today I have my own business, which does all sorts of things. I don't want to talk about them right now. You can see it online if you're interested. But other than doing this, Startup Nation Ambassador, and other than advising startups and other organizations as a marketing and business development consultant, I also devote a lot of my time to help people like you not become entrepreneurs, but to think like entrepreneurs for their careers. Not how do I become entrepreneur as a profession, but how do I think like an entrepreneur wherever I am. So that's a big thing for me in the past 3-4 years. So I already know quite a bit about you, or most of you. I have a lot of experience with Masa. This is not the first time I'm speaking to Masa participants. So with your permission, we're not going to go one by one because this will take 3 hours. But I have a lot of empathy and understanding for your situation because I've been working with Masa participants for years as an employer, as a mentor, as an advisor, you name it. That's my story in a nutshell. Let's talk about what's happening outside, which is more about your story. So without even saying a word about COVID, even if you forget COVID, I don't need to tell you we live in times of change. There's a revolution happening throughout our lives. We all heard it a million times. Interestingly enough, our great-grandparents also went through a revolution. We studied about it in high school, and we think it's so different. But in terms of human behavior and culture, there are many similarities. Here's an example. Technology advances fast. I mean, the self-combustion engine, or whatever it's called, was invented pretty fast. However, coming up with traffic rules takes time. People move slower. Same with the internet. Technology moves fast. We call this technology. But guess what? A pager was technology in 1998. This will not be technology in 15 years. So technology comes and goes. But the way we adapt our behavior to the internet, that's the real thing. Now, in that revolution, our great grandparents, they celebrated heroes, the pioneers, those who went west, like your grandparents, probably, some of you, especially the cowboys who went to look for gold. They were celebrated as heroes. Never mind that it wasn't really like that. But that was the culture of the time. We also celebrate heroes. We call them tech entrepreneurs. Funnily enough, in the mid-90s or the 80s, it wasn't admired to go and be an entrepreneur. And who said it will be admired 20 years from now, when you will be in the prime of your careers? So this is fashion. It's because of the phase of the internet. But there is a big change that is like, tectonic. We don't feel it every day. And this is the big one. And that's where the world of work comes in. Because this changes a lot. And this is where this program is so unique in the here and now of your life as you begin your careers, unlike 10 years ago. So I don't need to tell you that the world of work changed, that today people don't stick to a job for 15 years for many reasons. In a way, what was constant and what was variable, they kind of flipped. And it's difficult. In a way, it's as if they switched the rules on us from football to basketball, and no one told us. So, people switch jobs every 2 years. They think something's wrong with them or their boss. And a lot of people go around in circles looking, and it's not fun. No one's bad here. It's just the new rules of the game. And I want to give you an example that illustrates this, because this will really help the second part of this talk. Really, the chips will fall and the eureka will come. Maybe some people here studied law. So let's take a lawyer's example. In the old world of work, if you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to law school, right? Duh. And you went to law school to pass the bar and get a profession, become a lawyer. And then you go and work in a law firm. And there you get expertise as a lawyer. So you become a master in being a lawyer, which is why it makes sense for the employer-employee relationship to be like sacred marriage. And culturally, people would ask, once upon a time, they would ask, where do you work? Because where you work means what you do. Well, today, if you want to be a lawyer, you still go to law school. But what you really acquire is the skills. That's what you're being hired for. And today, when you join the real estate department in the law firm, you work with real estate companies just like 30 years ago. But if then you were gaining expertise as a lawyer, here you're gaining or you're building your community and your network in real estate. If you don't like real estate, you will not stay in the department. It's more about real estate than law. And this is why you become a master in real estate. You go to real estate conferences, not just legal conferences. So from this, we move to this. And then something interesting happens. 2 years after you've been working in the real estate department of the law firm as a lawyer, a real estate company puts an offer on your table and you go and work for a real estate company. 2 years after that, a real estate investor hires you. And 5 years after that, you go back to the law firm as the real estate partner. Your career is not in law, it's in real estate. What you bring to the real estate community or world is the legal skills. So people don't ask, where do you work? They ask, what do you do? That's a little bit about the subtle side of how it works. Now, I'm not going to waste time. This is not an academic talk. So I'm not going to show you a lot of interesting slides from Deloitte about the pace of change and all these frightening figures about, jobs are going to be gone and new ones will come, but we don't know what they are yet, and yada, yada, yada. And, 50% of the United States are going to be freelancers because of this, because of the internet, and the gig economy and all of these things. You probably heard it because it's in the air. People talk about it. in 2-3 slides, I want to show you what I believe it means for you. But I only picked one example. So I don't know if you know the World Economic Forum, these guys over here, if you're looking at my mouse. This is the organization that brings all the world leaders once a year to Switzerland, to Davos, to discuss all these things, like the future of the world and yada, yada, yada. The rest of the year, they do a lot of research. So they published right before COVID this that said that the shift is to skill-based hiring system, meaning lifelong learning becomes essential. Now, they published 2 years before that for workers, employees, it is clear that the personal responsibility for career development goes to the employees, not the employer. And this is a big, big thing. So it's not that I'm a soldier in the army and it's the commander's job to keep me in shape. No. It is my responsibility to keep myself in shape to be relevant in the organization. And this is a hint to where I'm going with this, for those of you who maybe read the links that I shared before the talk. So this is not me saying, it's the World Economic Forum. So if you didn't get it by now, a career is not a sequence of jobs. Your current job is not supposed to be your career, and a random set of jobs is not a career path. The same way that chair, 13, piano, and blue is not a sentence, just a bunch of words. What creates sentences is the context. What creates career is the story you pour into it. So this is all meta and high level, so I want to skip it pretty quickly. Main idea is career is not a sequence of jobs. It's actually the combination of all of these things. Okay. So when COVID came, a lot of people thought this is a game changer. And then a few experts said, no. It actually only reveals what has been happening for a decade already. Remote work, the fluidity that the internet creates, and whatever. So today everybody claims, and everybody agrees basically, that COVID-19 is not a change agent, it's an accelerant. Meaning, when people claim that, what they mean is the changes that COVID, that we attribute to COVID, they started way before COVID. Zoom was not invented in COVID. Startups have been using Zoom for 10 years. COVID accelerates that. It exposes what has been happening and it accelerates that. And as COVID comes, it will go. It's a blip. It's a tornado. It's a storm. Destroys town and disappears. But the movements of the winds are perpetual. So that's the change. Okay, so now I want to get to the punchline, which says the following. Assaf, what the hell does this all mean to me? So I claim that in today's world of work, and especially in a Masa construct of an internship, the way it's done with Masa, with these programs, and yours too, the meaning of this is this. In today's world, you, Naomi, and Celine, and Gemma Radol, and Thierry, and Lucy, and who else is here? Max Russell, and Rafaela Klein, and Rosa Cohen, and all of us, you, and me, and everybody else here, next to my office, we are all business units. What does that mean? Well, some of you studied business. What is a business unit? A business unit, sometimes it's called P&L unit. It's a profit and loss unit. It's a unit that is supposed to produce profits against losses. That's all. So in a way, you have input and you have output. And the whole idea is you better make sure that the output is bigger than the input. If you have a business, take any company from Google to the grocery store next to your house, it's a business, so it's a business unit. it has to produce more than it consumes. That is also true to small startups, to anybody. Now, in a way, that is also true for employees. If you're an employee, the basic thing you need to understand is that if people pay you, I don't know, 90, you better produce 100. Meaning, if you produce 100, you're going to get paid 90. You can't get paid 100 and you can't get paid 110. You have to get paid less than what you produce, because in a cynical way, your employer has to profit over you. Otherwise, they would not hire you. For the same way that you would do with your future employees. On the other side, if you get 90, your time, your alternative, probably is worth less than 90. So your time is probably worth 80 to you, which is why you're willing to sell your time, blood, sweat, and tears for 90. In between that gap between 80 and 100, with 90 in the middle, lies the entire economy. Trade, commerce, hiring, the labor market, everything. Now, here's the thing. So we have to make sure the outputs are bigger than the inputs, duh. But in the old world of work, we know that, entrepreneurs and business leaders, the CEO, they have to think that way. But in the old world of work, we kind of think that like it's the boss's job to make sure that my output is bigger than my input. So in a way, I'm being told what my input is going to be, my salary, and I know what the expectations are for my output. I don't want to produce too much output if I'm not getting paid for it. So the default becomes, I want to keep it a little bit above the input in a fair way, but I take the input as granted. I hope that makes sense. If not, please write in the chat. So I'll pause and I'll explain. This is pretty basic stuff. But psychologically, in the old world of work, we kind of like see it as, soldiers in the army. It's the commander's job. That's why we call them the boss, the leader, the manager. They need to make sure my output is bigger than my input. And I claim that in today's world of work, it becomes your responsibility as employees, and we'll talk about what it means for Masa participants, but it is your responsibility to make sure that your output is bigger than the input. Not only that, if you accept the input as granted, all you can do is play with your output, control, the amount of output you produce. But if you think like a business unit, you say, okay, what is the potential input? And if I can produce more output, I can increase my input. So this is a little bit, I'm going to give an example in a few slides, but this is a little bit about the difference between thinking like an employee and thinking like an entrepreneur or a business unit. So this is the first main idea. The second one, which is a direct derivative from think like business unit, is the following. If you are a business unit, it means that in a way, you are the CEO of You Incorporated, You Ltd, You LLC. And if that's the case, what is your employer in that new equation? Who is your boss here? Your commander? Who wants to tell me? Okay, let's wake up. Naomi Cohen, do you read? Over.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Hi, I'm fine, thank you.
Would it be okay to ask for you to open your camera just for 1 second?
Sure. Wait a minute.
Thank you so much. Naomi Cohen, in the meantime, what program are you in?
Yes. I'm in Stagerim.
Stagerim, very nice.
Yes.
So if you are the CEO of Naomi Cohen, Ltd, LLC, of how you perceive the world, who is your boss? Your what? If you are the owner of You Incorporated, your boss by definition becomes your customer. Why? Because as a business, as the CEO of Naomi Cohen, you get a job,
yes.
Someone pays you salary, That someone bought your output, that thing you do in the office. They paid for what you do. So they are the client, they are the customers. And anybody here that has a little bit experience in business knows that clients have to be satisfied, customers have to be satisfied. It doesn't mean they're always right, but they do need to love working with you, love buying from you. Otherwise, they will not do that. So we need to think like that as employees. Not because we need to suck up to the boss to make them happy. No. From a self-empowering point of view. Our boss pays for our output, so that boss is the client. We need to manage the client. We need to understand not just what the client tells us, orders like in the army, please do X, Y, and Z, but also understand why is our client, my boss, telling me to do this? What is hurting my boss? Where is the pain? Where is their need? Where can I help them? And that's where all the opportunity exists. By the way, there are other people in the office. They don't pay you a salary, but they enjoy your work, your team members, the guys from the other department. They are like your consumers. They consume your output. And this is why getting to a job today with an approach that says, dear boss, what do you need me to do today? Okay, thank you. Check. Go home. The worst approach ever. And here's another one. If your boss is not your daddy or mommy or your commander, they're the client. You cannot expect your client to tell you who you are. And here's something that may sound familiar. Not you, your friends. All I ever wanted is a stable job. I don't need to make millions. I want a decent salary. And I want a place that makes me feel meaningful. I want to make some impact. I want to be valuable. I want to be appreciated. Is that too much to ask? Why does it feel like our parents had it by default and we have to switch jobs every 15 months? And this is exactly the problem. You are not supposed to find that place, that oasis in the desert that will give you everything you're looking for. You're not shopping for self-fulfillment here. You're not the client. You are the service provider. You can't expect your boss to give you a career path that inspires you. That's not their job anymore. The new technology, the internet, the new world of work means that this becomes your job. In a way, it always has been so. But we're not in the Industrial Revolution anymore. There is no production line. So we have to stop taking life like a customer. This is beyond just this talk. You're not feeling well? Take a pill. You don't like this? Replace this at the shop. You don't like your boyfriend or girlfriend? Buy a new one. You don't like your job? Get a new one. You don't like your friends? Get new friends. You can't shop your way to happiness. It's not how life works. That's part of what I claim also the Bible is teaching us. And a lot of people can be great business experts, but when it comes to themselves, they think like a customer. They try to buy a good job. We're going to see an example later on. But these are three main ideas that I wanted to share with you. Think like a business unit. Your boss is your customer with everything that it implies. We'll talk about it a little bit in the next 10 minutes. And last but not least, you cannot look for that place that will give you what you're looking for. You have to build it for you. It doesn't mean that you have to be an entrepreneur. It's a profession. But it does mean that in today's world, you have to think like one. Even if you'll be an employee in big companies your entire life. So think like businesses, think like entrepreneurs. The next part, which I'm going to do in 10 minutes, is those 2 chapters, and then I want to open this to questions. Unless operator,
כן, אני כאן.
over. Bar, do you read over?
כן, כן. היי, אסף,
היי.
אני פה.
Do we have any questions, objections, to know from the chat, which I can't look at right now? Let's get down to practice. What does this mean? So we're not going to be able to discuss everything today, but I do want to tell you that a lot of this exists online. Just Google it. If you can't find it, shoot me a message on LinkedIn, Google my name and write to me. I'll send you the link. But I chose 2 examples that really, really matter. Number 1 matters to a lot of you here who probably are already looking for a job because you're thinking towards the next step. And if we are to think like business unit, then looking for a job changes meaning because we're not shopping for a new job. We need to sell Assaf Incorporated or Benjamin Ohayon Incorporated or Elinor Marziano Incorporated. What does it mean? When you send CVs and apply to jobs, here's the equivalent from the world of the army. Take the semi-automatic machine gun and you go like this. Now, I don't know if you have any army experience, but that squad with the SMG that does, their objective is not really to, take down the enemy. What they want to do is make the enemy go this way so that the commanders and intelligence could see where the enemy is. And that's basically what happens when you shoot CVs all over the place. You bombard employers. So they go like this. So what do? They build these systems with bots that read your CV, and by the time your CV reaches human eyeballs, it already went through a lot of process automatically. So pondering about the font of your CV, which is an important issue, doesn't really matter because it's technical. What you should do is do faster. However, this is not the only thing that the army unit should do as a strategy. That's step 1. Step 2 would be to take the sniper squad, take another position, take the goggles, look at the enemy and observe. Learn where they walk, learn their trends, measure the wind, take the curvature of the earth into account, and then when they're clear, they do, and you get a headshot. As the commander of the army unit, which is you, the business unit owner, you need to do both. But doing this, which you probably do, and that's what you know how to do, is not enough. So I want to focus on the snipers now. What does it mean to do business development, which is something I do with companies? And the first thing you need to ask is, who do I want as clients? So when I sit with CEOs or business leaders and I ask them, if you could choose everyone and they will all pay you the same, which clients do you want and why? Because if you don't know, then you can't say that to them. You won't know what to tell them. So you better start with your answers to yourself, and then you'll have a great pitch with marketing and a way to actually get them and build trust. That's just sales. So why can't we take that and apply it to job hunt? So what I mean to say is the following. You should all think like the CEO of you. If you don't know where you want to work in 7, 10, 15 years, you'll have a hard time starting to build a relationship with that company. And who cares if you're going to work there next year or not? You don't want to develop a relationship with them just for 1 year. You want to marry them, not just go out. So start with those top 10 potential employers. And here's how this works. If everyone pays the same and everyone wants to hire you and everyone has the same reputation, meaning cleaning the trash off the street and being the CEO of Google Israel is the same reputation. Your mom would be proud the same way. Being a teacher and being a tech entrepreneur who did an exit, the same reputation and the same outcome, same salary. It's all the same. The risk is the same. This industry goes up. This industry is risky. No, it's all the same, the same. In that perfect imaginary world, or not so perfect, But in that imaginary world, where would you want to work? What would you want to do there? And why? And then the answer has to come not from here, but from here. What do I like in life? Which groups of people do I want to be a part of and why? What do I want to say to my grandkids that I did during my life? And then what you do is you open Excel, and in column A, you write the names of those companies. Company name, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Column B is your why. What is the reason you want to be a part of them in that perfect world? All things being equal, I want to work with you because I just love your product, because I think your marketing is so cool, because I am so identified with your brand, because the CEO, she's so inspiring. I want to be her in 15 years. Whatever that is, write that down to yourself. And column 3, what is their why? What do you possess that is unique and valuable? Because you couldn't be a better or less better accountant than Danny Cohen right here from Israel. But you come from another country. You bring cultural assets. You have a unique competitive advantage. It would be stupid not to take advantage of that. So if you come from France, you want to work in Israel in companies, it doesn't mean that you have to work in the French marketing department of that company. But it would be stupid not to bring that added value into the table. So as an accountant, you can also help those people who manage the French clients. That's a business approach. So if you have the company name and your reason and their reason to be interested in you, now when you reach out to them, it doesn't even matter if they're hiring right now or not. You have a great way to start a relationship with them. And that's something we're going to practice with those of you who are in the program. So you're not supposed to get your top 10 strategic clients within 1 year for life. It doesn't work that way. It takes years. It takes McKinsey years, takes Bank Hapoalim years, takes any company years. But these are the companies you want to be in 10 years. It might just happen that they're about to publish a position, but you want to already be in their head. You don't want to stand in line on the way to the door. You want to come through the window. That's an entrepreneurial approach. So that's for job seekers. Eden Sadon, I don't know why you're laughing, but you're more than welcome to share that in the chat. Okay, here's one for those of you who are working. Well, you're doing the internship, so this is, of course, true for the here and now, but maybe some of you already have a job offer, I don't know. And you definitely have experience. So here's what I mean by the gold is in the gray, or diamonds are in the coal, or whatever you want to call this. This is your office environment. You are in the blue circle. Your colleagues have their own circles and your boss has a circle. It's called comfort zones. And you all know that over time, job requirements and job description, at the end of the day, people adopt the things they really want to do. They keep it to themselves and they kind of get rid of tasks and responsibilities that they don't want to do. So you have this void in between. And this is where all the opportunity is. So if you ask your boss, what do I need to do today? Check. Finished first, and you're waiting for promotion, you're not thinking like a business unit. But if you raise your head above the trenches and you look around, you will see that there's a lot of stuff in the organization that doesn't get done, no matter the size of the organization. You all know that. Now, some of this is junk. Some of it, their coal is your gold. So what you need to do is go and adopt those responsibilities and tasks. Be a friar if they taught you what this word means, right? You're doing more work which you're not getting paid for. But guess what happens after 3-4 months? It becomes obvious that this is something you take care about. And then you go to your boss after 1 year and you say, listen, I'm not only doing what I'm here to do, I'm also doing this and this and this. I have increased my output. I think I deserve more input into it. That's how you get promoted. You can't keep up with all this extra work, so they're assigning someone to help you. 2 years later, you started a new team, a department. That's thinking like an entrepreneur inside the office. I saw this happening in governmental organizations and in big corporations, not just startups. So this is everywhere. My personal experience. So these were 2 examples about getting a job or keeping a job. Now, this is not a talk about COVID, but if you go online, there's a post that I wrote when COVID started called Don't Miss Your Corona Crisis Opportunity, where we took a lot of these ideas down to practice for the here and now. And if you scroll down, you will actually see that there are a lot of videos with other Masa participants from a few months ago about how to implement that. So I don't want to start a 2-hour symposium, but you're more than welcome to go and check it out. So again, a lot of content online. So much more. I do want to give 5 more minutes before I open this to questions for what it means for Masa participants. And this is something that we're also going to continue to develop with the amazing 13 of you that are in this program. And then we'll have time for questions, and I'm happy for especially difficult and challenging questions. But let's talk about Masa for a second. Post number 1, which again, I'm not going to go deeply into it. Go and read it online or see the videos or whatever. What is the most important thing for your Israel internship? With the culture and the uniqueness of Israel and the current state of things in the world, etc. What it means is the following, in my mind. It's all about goal setting. You can write 10,000 business plans as a business leader, but if you are not committed to your goals or you're not setting your goals correctly, whether that's digital marketing or your entire business strategy, you'll have a hard time getting there. What I usually do is divide it into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the long term. What is your career vision? You're not committed, you don't know yet, but right here, right now, if someone asks you, where do you want to be in 20 years? This is what you have in mind. Why? Emotional. So that's the long-term career vision. From here, you derive a career plan. What do you need to happen in the next 10 years so that you will get to where you want to get? You want to start as a lawyer, your own law firm in 20 years and be the manager of your own firm? What do you need to happen in the next 10 years in order to get there? That gives you a good reason to show commitment and why you're going to give blood, sweat, and tears in order to get that experience. That's your career plan. It's a great value add for the other person to hire you. So once you know which mountain you want to climb, you need to know, now it makes sense what needs to happen, so I'll get there. What is missing for me that I need to accomplish in the next 10 years? 10 years is a marathon. But I also look at tomorrow morning. What are my short-term growth objectives? And this is how it translates to Masa internships. The hell with Masa and Bar and Assaf Luxembourg and Career Israel and Israel Experience or whatever. The hell with everybody. What do I want in 15 years? That's question number 1. Question number 2, what do I want to happen after this program? Another MBA, get a job in another country, stay here and get a job. What will put me on my path to the long-term goal? And then it makes it's pretty clear what I need to happen right now for growth objectives. Here's what I need to get in my internship. Experience in this. I need a case study of this for my portfolio. I need a good thing to talk about when I get an interview for a company like that, which is what I want to get. And now you have a plan that makes sense, which you could communicate to your client, to your boss. This will project your commitment. This will build trust. And now they know how they can help you. Otherwise, you're just a person doing free work. Why? I don't know. She came to Israel. Someone called us and offered us. No. It's a different approach. If you communicate that, they know what you want. They can help you get it. But if they don't know, then it'll be hard for them to do it. So again, we're going to develop that a little bit later on in the practice, which we're going to have next week with the amazing 13. But this is the idea. Idea number 2. Everybody here, I believe, is doing a long-term internship, meaning not onward. This is your internship behavior. Some of you are in the beginning, maybe, some of you are towards the end, but this is your internship. It starts with a lift-off. The first month is very exciting. You learn a lot. It's also stressful, but it's a lift-off. And then you have the plateau. You're so tired after the first month, you just want another day at the office. but the plateau is not flat. It goes a little bit down every day. And then you get to what I call the oh shit moment. Some of you are here in the beginning of the last month of your program, and then you go, it's over in a month. I don't know what happened. It's over in a month. What about rent in Tel Aviv? What about getting a job? What about starting to build my connections? Because if what you did was this in the office, then you didn't gain leverage. And then everything is stressful in 1 month. And guess what? Times move really fast when you're stressed with time. So the whole idea is not to get there. So there's no real plateau. You don't want to get to the make or break unprepared. And for the amazing 13, that's what I'm here to do. For the rest of you, make sure you're not getting caught in the last 2 weeks of your program like this. That's not a good business plan. Have your oh shit moment as soon as possible. Is it fun? No, but that's the truth, and that's what I'm here to give you. Because once you understand it and accept it, you can start making progress. I'm not sugarcoating it to you, but it's also a lot of fun, especially in a country like Israel. Last but not least, internship is not you doing a favor coming to work for free. I hope not. I advise you to take the transactional approach, meaning in a usual world, someone offers you money in exchange for your time. So they tell you what to do because they bought you. Here, you offer your blood, sweat, and tears and time. You don't get any money. So make sure you make the other side, your client, understand what's in it for you. Because once you communicate that, then they know that, and then they can make sure you get it. That goes back to the long, mid, and short-term goals. That transactional approach opens a lot of opportunity because suddenly some of you will get hired. Suddenly they'll tell you, we can't hire you, but my friend in the other company, and they'll make the connection, and that's it. That's all you needed. You need to operate them and make them understand what is the value you're here for. So again, you can read that all in the post that I shared with some of you in the beginning. It's all online. You have the leverage here because you're giving your time and sweat, blood, and effort. So negotiate the deal. I'm here to show you how to do it in an effective way. And again, there's so much more. But at this stage, I want to finish with this slide. Now, some of you are pretty young. And I don't know if you know what is this background behind me. But in a way, this movie, just like stories from our heritage in the Bible, were in the background of this entire talk. So I highly advise you to take the red pill. Don't hold on to the matrix, because otherwise the oh shit moment will catch you unprepared. So let's take the red pill today and go and hack the new world of work. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was what I wanted to share with you tonight. What I would love to do now is open mics, and I want to hear questions, objections, statements, curses, you name it. I hope I got you to think a little bit. Feel free to reach out to me, and I hope I didn't waste your precious evening time. Thank you so much. This is
Thank you to you.
over and out.
תודה רבה.
Thank you. Bye.
ביי, תודה רבה, אסף.
Ciao.
Bye.
תודה.
Bye bye.